I'm not ashamed to own my Lord, nor to defend his cause. Maintain the honors of his word, the glory of his cross.
Hello, I'm James Brown, and on behalf of the Eastern Church of Christ located in Toronto, Canada, I'd like to welcome you to today's edition of Walking Through the Bible, a podcast where we seek to study the Bible and the Bible alone. Please stick around afterwards for information on how you can contact us. But for now, please go to the book of Genesis, and we'll turn you over to Jeremy Disocam for our study of the day.
Thank you, James, and welcome to all of our viewers. This is the 148th lesson in our study of Genesis. Yesterday we covered Genesis chapter 43, verses 1 to 14, discussing how Jacob sent his 10 sons back to Egypt in order to buy food. If you missed that episode and would like to watch it, you can find it and all of our other podcasts on our website at www.eastendchurch.org. You can also find them on our YouTube channel at www.youtube.com/eastendchurchofchrist under the Walking Through the Bible Genesis playlist. Today we're going to begin with Genesis chapter 43, verse 15 and read through verse 25. The text that you'll see on the screen is from the English Standard Version, but you're welcome to follow along with any version that you have. So let's now read Genesis 43, beginning at verse 15. So the men took this present, and they took double the money with them, and Benjamin. They arose and went down to Egypt and stood before Joseph. When Joseph saw Benjamin with them, he said to the steward of his house, "Bring the men into the house, and slaughter an animal, and make ready, for the men are to dine with me at noon." The man did as Joseph told him, and brought the men to Joseph's house. And the men were afraid because they were brought to Joseph's house, and they said, "It is because of the money which was replaced in our sacks the first time that we are brought in, so that he may assault us and fall upon us to make us servants and seize our donkeys." So they went up to the steward of Joseph's house and spoke with him at the door of the house, and said, "O my lord, we came down the first time to buy food. And when we came to the lodging place, we opened our sacks, and there was each man's money in the mouth of his sack, our money in full weight. So we have brought it again with us, and we have brought other money down with us to buy food. We do not know who put our money in our sacks." He replied, "Peace to you, do not be afraid. Your God and the God of your father has put treasure in your sacks for you. I received your money." Then he brought Simeon out to them. And when the man had brought the men into Joseph's house and given them water, and they had washed their feet, and when he had given their donkeys fodder, they prepared the present for Joseph's coming at noon, for they heard that they should eat bread there. In yesterday's episode, we found that the grain that had been bought in Egypt had now been eaten, and Jacob wanted his sons to go back to Egypt to buy more. Judah told his father that they couldn't return without Benjamin. To convince his father to let Benjamin come, he told Jacob to place the youth in his charge, and that if he didn't return, that Judah would be to blame and be deserving of punishment. Jacob finally relented and allowed Benjamin to go. However, he instructed to bring the man expensive gifts and double the money in the hope that all would go well. So in today's reading, we have the 10 brothers returning to Egypt. When Joseph saw them, all he told the steward of the house was to bring the men to his house and slaughter an animal so they could all eat at noon. Why would Joseph not talk to the brothers right then? He was working, and as such had no time at the moment. The brothers, though, thought something bad was going to happen. They thought that Joseph was going to enslave them and take their donkeys because he thought they were thieves. But Joseph had said no such thing. He simply invited them over for a meal. Their attitude here is in line with what Solomon says in Proverbs 28, verse 1, which reads, "The wicked flee when no one pursues, but the righteous are bold as a lion." The brothers felt guilty over the money and over Joseph himself, and so they thought the worst of everything. In order to ensure that not only their consciences would be clean, but that Joseph couldn't accuse them of theft, they approached Joseph's steward and told him about how they had paid for the grain the previous time, but somehow the money got back in their bags. The steward replied that they shouldn't be afraid, for he knew that they had paid, and nothing is owed, because it was due to the providence of their God that the money was in their sacks. Joseph was a God-fearing man and had obviously been teaching this to his stewards because he even knew of the true God. Simeon was then brought out to them. They were brought into the house, given water, and had their feet washed and their donkeys fed. They were truly being given what we might call the royal treatment. Even though they were being treated well, they still wanted to get into Joseph's good books. So before Joseph returned, the brothers prepared the present that they had brought, for they heard that he would be dining with them. With that, our time is up for today. Please join us, Lord willing, tomorrow when we will continue our study of Genesis, beginning with Genesis chapter 43, verse 26.
Thank you, Jeremy. And to our viewers, we also thank you for watching. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel by clicking on the subscribe button below. Should you have a question or comment, please leave them below or email them to answerintheword@gmail.com. We'll try to respond to you as quickly as we can. We hope you'll join us, the Lord willing, tomorrow when we will be continuing on our study of the book of Genesis. Goodbye for now and have a great day.
I'm not ashamed to own my Lord, nor to defend